we reflect, we're looking back on the last year. Like, what did I love about my life? What do I want to change about my life? What are some things that were just kind of weird? What are some things that I'm really proud of? What are some things that I wasn't really proud of, right? And going into the new year, obviously we don't want to bring a lot of those things in. And so sometimes there could be some things that we did, right? Maybe moments that we had that we're not proud of, or maybe decisions that we made that we're not proud of. And it feels like it's like a lot of dark energy, right? It's a lot of dark energy. It's a lot of negativity, right? Maybe you weren't in your highest vibration, whatever you want to call it, right? Maybe you were in a bad mood. Maybe something bad had just happened and you made a rash decision out of something that wasn't, you probably wouldn't have made that decision if you weren't emotionally, out of it, right? So what happens is, though, sometimes those moments are actually working for a breakthrough for you. They're actually propelling you to your next level. They're actually unlocking some things for you. They're actually helping you find confidence. They're actually helping you, oh gosh, man. Right now, see, like right now, the darkness is trying to get me, but you know what? It's teaching me patience, right? It's teaching me patience. So let me see. Okay. All right. You know what it is? I just set this up on my anyways, you guys don't, it doesn't matter. I want you guys to get this message right now. So a lot of times you may not realize that you are going through a transition or going through a season, and it's something that it just feels icky. It feels dark. It feels like nothing's working out for you. It feels like, you're almost at the point where you're like, I just kind of want to give up, right? Whether it's your health, your fitness, whether it's, on some goals that you want for yourself, whether it's on your a job situation, maybe a relationship, and things just it doesn't feel like it's working out, right? Like, it doesn't feel like it's going in the right direction. It doesn't feel like, it just feels like darkness, right? Like, it just seems like everything's kind of just like, it just feels off. It doesn't feel like it's fluid. It doesn't feel like it's ease and flow. It doesn't feel like, you kind of reflect on, you're like, this is just not what I want my life to be, right? Well, a lot of times there is darkness, right? Like, there is negative energies. There is these things happening, but what the darkness is actually doing is working for the light, right? It's working for the light. So let me explain even more. Let me give you some examples. So, for instance, when I was younger, I hated my job. I hated my job. I was super depressed. I literally, like, my hair was falling out. I got down to 117 pounds. I had went through a lot of traumatic things during my college experience, and it just was a lot, right? Like, it just seemed like my high school life of just like rainbows and butterflies and just ease and flow went to like a lot of darkness. Like, there was just like this dark cast in like certain areas of my life. And I didn't understand it. Like, I just was like, I don't get it. Like, I truly feel like I'm not perfect, but I feel like I'm a good person. Like, most people that know me, if they were, in an interview, I know that they would say that I was a good person. Is it a good person or a bad person? They would say I was a good person. So, it was just a lot of darkness. And what I ended up finding out now hindsight's always 2020, right? So that dark cast of my life, like, I actually had a blast in some areas of college, like some moments in college, I absolutely had a blast, and it was epic. But some other areas of life during that time period were really, really dark. And I had no idea that because of that darkness, it actually was going to propel me to my spiritual journey, right? By the way, I'm drinking golden milk. It's turmeric, almond milk, and cloves. This is fantastic. It's an ancient Indian drink. Definitely drink it. It's fantastic for your gut health. It's fantastic to like keep you calm, keep your stress low. And it's just really good. It has honey in it. Okay. So again, during that dark time period, the darkness was actually working for the light. Okay. It was working for the light, meaning I was always spiritual. I have a very interesting upbringing with me being half black, half Punjabi. So one end I grew up with Sikhism, and then on the other end I grew up with Christianity. And it was just a very so I could not escape God. He was everywhere, right? He was every spectrum from the furthest of the east to the west, okay, on the planet. And I always felt like I had a beautiful relationship with God, like as a kid and even as a teenager. When I look back at like some of my stuff in college, or in high school, I was like, oh wow, like I actually like was connected to God as a young person. Like I actually like would pray, and I would like really like think about like, okay, like is this godly? Like in certain moments. That kind of dropped away like in college. And now it makes sense why there was a dark cast, right? Like there was dark energy, just dark, weird decisions, weird experiences that I had, along with the epic ones at the same time. And so what that led me to was my spiritual journey. And so after college, 4, 5, 6, 7 years after college, I got really serious about my own spiritual journey. And I now know that the darkness was actually working for the light, because the way that my life moves now, I really like every single day I try to get better and better at having God have a hand on everything in my life. Like even this turmeric, like even like, God, bless this turmeric, have it go into my body so it can, do what it needs to do so I can be, a portal for you, right? Mm. Sorry, I got one of the cloves in my mouth. Cloves are really good for you, by the way. And so, um, if the darkness wasn't so bad in college to where I literally lost my hair was like up to here. My hair is, you can't even see, it's like past the camera. It's down to here. It's literally laying on my thigh right now. I was 117 pounds. I'm 5'7". Maybe if I was modeling or something like that, like I probably would have loved that, but no, it was very unhealthy. And it just was a really sad time in certain moments during that time of my life. And so a lot of the trauma from that time period was coming out, 4, 5, 6, 7 years later after the college experience. So that's when I found my spirituality. And it was, again, I was born into it. But when I say born, or finding my spirituality, meaning I was truly seeking God, like as CianaSingh, right? Like not like, oh, because my mom told me to, my dad told me to, I go to the Gurdwara, or I go to the church, right? It was like CianaSingh just wants to find her direct portal to God with like no influences of anything else. And so I discovered it, and I definitely would not have been able to get through life without my spirituality, with my connection with God, like my God source portal. Trauma, just with being, it's a lot. Um I want to try to sum it up in a nutshell without having to go, because this is really to unlock some things for you as the viewer. Just like things at the time that when you're in college, it seems like it's so amplified, right? Because it's your first experience, like experiencing life as a full-on adult. And so just some, there was a guy I was with at the time, bad idea. Just some confusion around like the major I wanted to take. Just discovering who I was, viewing myself, and how I viewed myself as far as like my beauty and things, like just it was like a lot of like life happening at one time, like financial stuff, right? I actually was making a lot of money in college, ironically, but I yeah, it was being overwhelmed, and it was not knowing how to deal with emotions, and it was not knowing how to process when something was happening. Excuse me. I think I have one of the little pieces of the clove is like in my throat. Hold on. So yeah, overwhelmed. You're in college. I'm living in a dorm. Um, dating a young guy, a boy at the time. Hopefully, there's no ill issues. Hope that person is doing well. But like, so boy issues, um, image issues with myself, not knowing what I wanted to do with my life. Like, it was just a lot coming all down at one time, right? And again, I wasn't talking to God at that time. I wasn't saying, God, like, what do you want? I journaled a lot. That actually got me through a lot. I've always been a journaler. I don't know, I can't recall if it was because my mom told me to, but like, since I was the first time I could write, like at 5 or 6 or whenever you learn how to write, right when I was able to do that, I started journaling. And so that, maybe that was like God's way of like communicating with me, or like helping me process emotions. But the type of parents that I had were and have still, but especially then, they were younger then too, right? So they didn't have the tools to help me process emotions. It was just kind of like, you just get over like, just get over it, kind of like the old school, right? Like, just get over it, which I kind of love. Part of it I love, because that's why I have the grit. Like, I feel like a lot of young people these days, they don't know what the grit is, right? Like, the grit, like, you just kind of, it's like this power layer, like, that you develop when you kind of just get told to keep going. But it is important. What I do think that the generation now can take benefit from it is acknowledging, talking through emotions, mental health, things like that. Mental health that didn't exist then. Like, mental health has always existed, but like those terms, right? Like mental health, making sure my mental health is good, keeping my anxiety low, doing things to help me process emotions. Like, those things didn't exist. I had still have a very strict Punjabi father. And then my mother was also really strict too, Christian Black woman. So it was just kind of like, it was just a no, or it was like, you just didn't really, parents then, I felt like the gap was bigger. Let me know in the comments if you know what I mean by that. Like, I feel like parents and kids now like connect a lot more. Some of them need to, like, the line is too blurred. Like, it's almost like it's their bestie, which I don't really agree with. I know when I have my future children, I won't be doing the bestie thing. Like, to some degree, like, me and my mom are besties now, like, as two adult women. But I think when you're calling your 5-year-old your bestie, like, I don't know if a 5-year-old is able to process that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think they're like, I don't know if they know that you're like saying, yeah, I'm your bestie, but I'm still your elder. Anyways, not to get off topic. Um, so yeah, the parents then, it was just kind of do as I say, not as I do. Just figure it out. Oh, well, I don't like this, or I'm struggling with this. Get over it, push through. I did it. Like, it wasn't, so I didn't know, I didn't have a voice then. Like, I didn't even know I didn't know how to communicate that I was struggling then. And it would come out in anxiety attacks. And my mom actually, I didn't even remember this. I don't want to get turmeric on this pillow. I didn't even remember this. My mom actually reminded me of this. She's like, do you remember a couple times when you were like, called me and said you like literally couldn't breathe, like when you were in college? And I was like, what? Like, I did? And by the way, I graduated college with an academic scholarship. That's how I paid for all 4 years of college. I I don't have any student loans. Excuse me. My mom and dad didn't pay for college. I paid for college with academic, so I was still getting great grades and able to maintain my academic scholarship and graduate with honors at Fresno State. So I don't know how, like, I was a dancer. I was on two different dance teams. I was part of clubs. I had 2 jobs. Like, I'm like, what was I do? But also, social media didn't really exist on this level like it does now. So I feel like we just literally had more life force energy to like be active. So that is one of the unfortunate things about social media. But social media has also brought in people together. Like, I can do this now, so you just take what you can, right? So yeah, I didn't have a voice. I didn't have the tools. I was a new young adult going into the world of being an adult. And my dad, bless his heart, he's from India, raised in a farmland. He does not know how to, like, he did not know how to school a young black and Punjabi girl growing up in California. Like like he wasn't even given the tools to even like help a young black girl, black Punjabi girl. So there was that. Like, so that was just kind of like, he just was like, everything was just a no. Like, he just said no to everything. So that was that. My mom was a little bit more open, but again, at that time, she was super strict on her Christianity. She's more spiritual now in general now. So yeah, it was just a mirage of, it was just a collection of stuff. And I know a lot of young people during that, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, like those years, I feel like it's more accepted now if a young person's really struggling, because there's so many tools out there to help them get through it. I didn't have any tools. And then I didn't even know to ask for tools. Like, it just didn't, I don't know. Like, let me know if you guys are feeling me, if that makes sense. Like, I wouldn't have known to say, hey, I need the tools to process like what's going on. Like, I just was like, there's just something wrong. And well, what's wrong? I don't know. There's just something, like, so now I can say, oh, my mental health was not on point. I was highly stressed. I was literally operating off of fumes. I wasn't sleeping. My diet was out of control. I barely drank water. Like, I don't even think I ever took a vitamin in college. I like everything, like mind, body, soul, it just was out of alignment, right? Everything, how I live now is nothing like how I lived when I was in college. I was doing the whole, I wasn't a broke college student. Thank God. I actually was blessed in that. I had a couple pennies in my pocket. I was able to buy lunch. I was able to buy dinner, stuff like that. I was able to buy a couple outfits, I wasn't like starving. But so during that time, the darkness, so that's why I was saying at the beginning of the video, darkness sometimes doesn't realize that it's actually working for the light. And the light just went out. So sometimes darkness doesn't realize it's working for the light. And so if you are going through, physical fitness is excellent for anxiety. Absolutely. And what's funny is that during that time, using my cell phone light, hopefully this will stay up. During that time, I did not work out. I was just kind of naturally in shape because I was a dancer. I was on 2 different dance teams. So that's cardio. But I didn't like go to the gym. So yeah, now that we're speaking about it, I think that there was things that God had in place for me to help me process by doing things that I loved. So dancing was one of them. Journaling was one of them. What else did I really love? Music. I loved music, just listening to music, just kind of relaxing, hanging out with like good people, my friends, just like doing things like that, I think like helped me process. But I probably really needed to talk to like a therapist or something at that time, to be honest, because dang it. You guys are gonna have to bear with me with the light stuff. So, because I don't want to like, I want to be cozy and comfy right here. So the darkness that was going on during that time in my life is now why I've like walked into my journey of enlightenment. If that's, how I could probably describe it. And so just for you, I just want to let you know that you could be going through a dark time right now. You could be going through something that it just seems like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. You could be going through also comparing yourself, right? Comparing yourself to others. It's like, oh man, everything's working out for everybody else. And really what it's teaching you is patience. What it's really teaching you is self-control. What's really teaching you is to like really like go in deep, do some inner work on yourself. Like why is your reality the way that it is, right? If you don't like where you live, if you don't like your financial situation, if you hate your job, if you don't like your physical appearance, if you don't like the fact that you never travel, if you don't like the friends that you hang out with, if you don't like your coworkers, if you don't like, if there's more things on your list that you could spew out that are things you don't like, and it just seems like you're just living in this dark bubble. Well, really, the darkness is a reflection of you. And so that's what I learned, even stating at the beginning of the window or of the video, that I was more connected as a child and as a teenager to like divine source, and I kind of lost that, going into college. And so that darkness kind of like led me back onto the path of like spirituality and like being connected with God, right? So I just want to let you know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and you just have to really take the time to sit down, like get off of Netflix, get off of even sometimes like you might need to take a week off from working out. Like the time that you're choosing to work out, if you feel like you never have time, well, maybe just do some journaling and do some inner work when you would go to the gym, right? How did I gain so much motivation? That's a good question. There's several answers, but the overarching answer is God, right? When you discover God, you discover your purpose. You discover what your shell is being used for. And so motivation is like, it's beyond the motivation for me. It's more of I'm so tapped in and wired in with what I know God wants me to be doing with my life, that is what's driving me. It's like coming from God, right? Because there's so many days that I don't want to do stuff. There's so many days that I just want to like be curled up, honestly, like looking at alien videos or looking at ancient videos or looking at, just like stuff on the internet, right? Or go shopping, or whatever, go find a restaurant, try to go out to eat, or just do something that's like external. But like God's like, turn on the camera right now, or God's like, make that phone call or send that email, or get up 2 hours early. Hey, you're waking up at 4:44 every morning, get up, instead of just being like, why am I waking up at 4:44 every morning? Like, just, but that's the call, right? Like, that's God. It's not my motivation. So it's something deeper that's calling, right? So in one sense, it can be viewed like from a practical sense as like motivation, but I think that you got to be able to do stuff when you're not motivated, because there's not like, say for some reason, and thank God we have the internet, right? Because like a lot of times, you could just pop on the internet and someone can motivate you. But like, say if your phone was dead. Say if your phone was dead. Sorry, this like stuff is like, I also put black pepper in here because your body processes the turmeric better when you have black pepper. Just hold on really quickly. Uh-oh. Great. Hold on, guys. What I had the phone on just broke. So hold on, just bear with me for a second. Hold on. Okay, I'll clean that up in a second. Okay, so maybe I can put this up here. So it comes from intrinsic intrinsic motivation. I know. It's okay. So it comes from intrinsic motivation, intrinsic drive, right? So a lot of times it can feel like it's motivation, but if your phone was dead for whatever reason, where are you going to get your motivation from if you can't pop on the phone and like see me or see your favorite, you know, whoever, right? Or maybe you're trying to call someone, like call your sister or call your go-to person and like they're not available. It has to come from within. So like there's, you know, there's times that I'm just like, gosh, let me see. Thank you. There's times that I'm just like, I just don't want to, like, I'm just like, all my little goals, I think I might have did too much. Let me just go ahead and shrink it back down and like go this easier route and like call it a day. And then it's not really my motivation, but it's like, it's the calling. You know, when people say like the call from God or whatever, or if you want to think about it on a practical sense, just like this inner deep like intuition where you're just like, I know I'm supposed to be doing something else. And so I'm just going to keep going and keep having faith. So that's where it comes from. It comes from God. Like it comes from my connection with God. It comes from me spending time with God, writing, journaling, praying, on a consistent basis, right? Sitting in silence, sitting in stillness. And then I'll like get a wave of like something I'm supposed to talk about or something I'm supposed to do. And that motivates me. But it's like it came from like within, right? It didn't really like come like, oh, I want to be like that influencer girl. So like, because I want to be like her, like now I'm going to get on the, you know, I do have a couple people that I really admire. But like my true deep drive is coming from within, which you know, is God. So, my gosh, guys, next time I'm going to have an actual stand. I have one in my car. That's why I never have this problem, but I need one for the house. So, okay, you're truly delegated to what you believe. Absolutely. So yeah. So that's what I want. Thank you for staying on with me, guys, with like all the little drops and glass. But you know, actually, when glass breaks, like kind of like in a weird way, like unexpectedly, sometimes it means something. So let's just see, just for fun. Glass breaks, meaning. That's interesting. I mean, that one's more like Jewish. I don't really, okay. So this is what this one says. It says, what does glass breaking mean? It says the spiritual meaning of broken glass is rooted in the symbolism that transcends its physical state. The shattered glass serves as a metaphor of impermanence, transformation, liberation from limitations, and acceptance of flaws. So maybe I've arrived. I've accepted my flaws, guys. Really quick. Hold on again. Hold on really quick. See if you get some water. So yeah. As long as, oh yeah, no, it wasn't a mirror. You know, I'm not really superstitious. I can't say that I'm superstitious. I do think that my personal belief with those things is that if you believe it, then it will come forth. So if you believe that, like, if you break a mirror, you'll get 7 years bad luck or whatever that superstition is. Like, if you believe that, like, you are telling yourself, like, your brain will start to look for that reality, right? Like, you'll blame every single like weird thing that happens in your life, or unfortunate thing on like, oh, remember when I broke that mirror? Like if you tell yourself that, then I feel like you then have like, what is it called? Like the reticular activated system, like it's only gonna like see that reality, right? Like, you know, when you're like, oh, well, I want like a yellow Bentley or something, and all of a sudden you like see a few yellow Bentleys like over the course of the next week, and you're like, that's really odd. I was just talking about a yellow Bentley, and like that's a really weird color, rare color for a Bentley. I don't think I've ever seen one, and I'm gonna be shook if I seen one now. But like, you know what I'm saying? It's like it's in your prefrontal cortex, like it's this thing in our brain that activates that. So that's just my personal like if I read that now and I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, so the glass broke and like I read it, I just think it's fun, and whatever I resonate with, and I kind of just like let it be in that moment and then I move on. Like I'm not like obsessed with stuff like that. But I do think that that was a really odd, it was like I was using a like this glass like thing, and I didn't even it's not even that high from the, and I have carpet. So like I'm shocked that it broke. I was like, oh, if it falls, it'll just like, it won't break, but it actually fell, or it actually broke. So I was like, I wonder what that means. What else did it say? Oh yeah, let me type in. I didn't even type in spiritual meaning, but usually. Okay, now let's see what happens. Okay, so it says breaking glass is often seen as an omen of good luck. It says broken glass is often a sign of release or freedom, and likewise often signifies good things are coming your way. In fact, in Pakistani tradition, which is so interesting that it says Pakistani. Well, I'm half Punjabi, but Pakistan and Punjab is like they're right on the border of each other. Actually, Pakistan and Punjab don't really have the best history. Everything's fine now, but anyways, that's just a side note. It says a glass accidentally breaking in your house is a definite sign of your luck turning for the better. So okay, well, I claim that. I accept that, right? Like, you know, when you're like at a bar, or like someone accidentally breaks a glass and people start clapping, or like even at one of them, it said at Jewish weddings, they like break glass, and I guess it's like, it's a good thing, right? Because it's like they're doing it as like a good tradition. So that's how I'm choosing to see it. But like someone else might be like, oh my gosh, like what's gonna happen? I don't, it's bad luck. Yeah, that sounds good for me. Yeah, good enough for me too. So that's what I just want to say. That's like a huge thing. If anyone is going through something, the darkness that you are going through, the darkness is actually working for the light. The light has used the darkness to bring you back to the light, right? So I just want to say that. Make sure to also subscribe. Make sure to follow me on my other platforms. And I do have a How to Lose Fat ebook guide for the holiday season. Definitely tap in. Also, you can gift it to somebody. It's super easy read. A couple of you guys have gotten it and were like, it's super easy to follow. It's everything that I do personally to stay in shape, stay, motivated. Ooh, and I actually have another really, really, really dope product, e-product that's coming out, and you guys it's in perfect timing for 2024. And I was playing around with it and I was like, this is dope. Like I am super excited about it. So I'm going to be releasing that to you guys soon. And I do have a TikTok shop. So if any guys are on the live, if you guys are still on the live, I'm not sure. And anyone watching this on the replay, if you have no idea what to get, like a wife, a girlfriend, anything like that, or if you're a woman, watching on my TikTok, on my showcase, I have like a little store. Let me actually show you. And I have a bunch of stuff that I put on there that are great ideas for holiday season. So like if you go to my TikTok, I don't know if you guys can see, this is my TikTok. This is my TikTok right here. And then when you click right here, the little showcase right there, it brings you, so all these things are things that are like bestsellers, all that stuff. So just, for some ideas for you. And then also click the links. Definitely tap in with some of the other stuff that I use on a daily basis that help me, you know, with my health, my fitness, all that stuff. INNO SUPPS, RYZE Mushroom Coffee, Right Energy, all that stuff is down in the description. And that's it. So definitely make sure to subscribe and catch me on the next one. Bye.